But if you close your eyes,
Alright, DMA9. This is the first of several little micro tutorials I'm going to show you on using Photoshop CS6. Now let's start off with messing around with some layers. So we've created a new Photoshop document here, and we can see over here I have my layers window. Now right now I have a background one. It is locked, which means a lot of my editing functions are not available. I'm going to start by coming down here and clicking on the Create New Layer function. And I'm just going to start using my brush tool. I'm just hitting all the keyboard shortcuts, so that would be B for brush. I'm going to paint some red. Let's just get a nice little squiggle. Excellent. And if I double click on the name, or if I select the layer and hit the F2 key, usually it's the F2 key, so that works right now. If I double click on the layer title, I can type in something. I will suggest you now get into the habit of naming your layers, because when you get to a large assignment with multiple layers and different blending options, it's really handy that you know exactly which one is which, rather than going from layer 1 to layer 22 not knowing what's on which. So let's create a new layer. Let's call this one blue. And I'm going to go over here, adjust my color. You can drag all around where you want. This is the hue, and this is simply its shade. Now let's marginally follow this red squiggle. And you'll notice that the blue is going over top of the red. We can see that really well if I simply do something like that. I'm going to hit Control Z, step back. I don't want that. And this simply has to do with what order our layers are in. We can see here that the blue layer is on top of the red layer. And if I simply drag the red above, you will see that well, the red is now above the blue. And if I continue to draw blue on the blue layer, it will be underneath the red layer. So it's very handy being able to adjust where exactly our layers are. It really helps when we start to blend photos together to make them look very realistic. And we can create another one in between. Let's go with green. And you'll see that this layer will be in between the blue and the red. And we can always reorder this however we would like. Maybe that's a little better. You'll notice I've left my background layer alone. It's always a good idea, especially if you have an image, say like this. You'll notice over here I have my background layer. And, first thing you'll see is a background copy. To get that, you can right-click on the layer, hit Duplicate Layer, or the keyboard shortcut for that is Control J, and that will instantly create a background, or sorry, a copy of your layer. That's very handy with the background, because the last thing you'd want to do is, say, accidentally hit the erase button, and now you have been erasing all of your original image. That's very nice and lovely, you want to keep, and you've done this so many times, click, 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 that when you try to undo them all, you're very, look at that, I have run out of undos, so I can't get that back. But that's fine. In fact, I don't care that I've ruined this layer, because I'm going to delete that. I still have this copy that I made. Now that I've ruined the first one, I can actually also lock this layer so nothing can be done to it. So if I try to erase this layer, it doesn't work. So the layers are an extremely useful function. Use them to stack elements on top of each other. You can drag them around. You can click on the visibility icon here. It looks like a little eye. If you don't see the eye, that means you can't see it. If we switch back to our red, blue, and green layer, you can see that I can click the visibility on and off. And of course, we've also looked at opacity. And opacity is simply how transparent, or rather how opaque is something. If it's a 100% opaque, you cannot see through it and it shows up. As we lower this, it becomes less and less opaque and more transparent, so you can eventually see all the way through it. If I turn my green all the way down, you will see straight through the green to the blue layers. Well, hopefully this helps you with your use of layers in Photoshop. I've got a few more tutorials coming on the way where we're going to learn more about the tools, and hopefully this helps.